All right, guys. I hope you guys are having a good week. Welcome to the Martial Arts of Selling. I'm always going against the grain. I'm always challenging, euphemism, myths, sayings, all those things. Today's another day. What am I talking about? Follow me here, guys. Challenging the 80-20 rule and increase your sales. Most of you know what 80-20 means, right? 80% of the business is usually through the 20%, or vice versa. Or 20% is doing 80% of the volume, right? That's just the way it is. So I'm going to challenge that. I'm going to help you become more effective. What we're going to talk about is this. Why we're going to challenge the 80-20 rule, how we're going to challenge it, and then what can you expect by challenging it? Those are the three things. Stay tuned. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. All right, guys, check it out. So we're going to discuss the first part is why challenge the 80-20 rule. It's going to be phenomenal. Now, come here. Okay. Why? There's three reasons why. I'm going to give an analogy and example before I go into the 3 points. Let's say you are purchasing 1,000 leads. Or let's say you get 1,000 leads through different formats, right? And you got a lot of leads now. But chances are you don't know where those leads come from, if they even qualified. You just know you got name, numbers, addresses, and things like that, right? Whether it's through a funnel, whether it's through ads, whether it's through a broker. However you get these leads, chances are you don't know who they are. You just know these are leads that are potentially looking for your product and services, right? So now you're going to spend a lot of time either through a dollar system, making phone calls, text messaging, or emailing. So you're going to go through all that. It's an exercise. But what happens is the percent of those leads that you're going to be able to contact or have a conversation or a full sales presentation are very minimal because you just don't know who they are, right? So let's say out of the 1,000, you might be able to get in contact with 100 people, 10%. And let's say out of that 100, you do 20% presentation. So that's 20 people you present. And let's say you close 30% of the 20 people. You got 6 new customers, right? And typically 80% of the business is done with 20% of the customers or vice versa. 20% of the people generate 80% of the business, right? I don't like those numbers. So you can challenge it. This is how I challenge that. Now, before we get into how we challenge it, I'm going to explain to you the 3 reasons. Number 1, why? Because you want to be smarter about generating leads. Because I'd rather spend my time speaking with people than trying to chase people that I don't even know if they're going to be there or not, right? So you want to be smarter on how to generate those leads. So instead of making it 20%, you may be at 50%. Does that make sense? So you want to be smarter about that. Number 2 is if you challenge that and you are smart about it, you're going to be more effective in generating more sales. So instead of being 80-20, you might be 50-50. Isn't that a better number? It is, right? A lot less work, but more effective work. So you're going to be more effective in challenging that. Then the third one is, if you're smarter about how you go about leads, and you're more effective about it, of leads, you're going to be more consistent in generating more sales, right? I did a video the other day, how to target qualified leads so that you can increase your conversion ratio, which means you increase your sale, which means you increase your cash flow. It's very simple. It's not that complicated. But for some reason, people get caught up into that 80-20 and never challenge it. I'm always challenging sayings, myth, and euphemism. Always challenging that. Why? Because I want to know, what's really behind that. Does that make sense? So Number one is why you want to challenge the 80-20 rule. And if you do that the right way, guess what? You're going to increase your sales. And there are 3 points to the why. Why? Because you become smarter. You want to be smarter at it. Number 2, you want to be more effective at it. And then number 3, you're going to see consistent result. Does that make sense? Now, follow me for how we're going to challenge the 80-20 rule. Okay, guys. Now, number 2 is how do you go about challenging the 80-20 rule? Well, this is how I do it. I believe in the right numbers, not just the numbers. Does that make sense? That's another saying. It's all about the numbers. For me, it's about the right numbers. You want to be effective. You got to work smart and also work harder at being smart so that you could be better than anyone else. Does that make sense? All right, let's go. Now, so the number is how do you challenge the 80-20 rule so that you can increase your sale? It's right in front of you. There's 2 ways you can do that. Number 1 is the followers and subscribers. Okay? What better leads can you go after than those that supposedly like your content, share your content, and comment on your content, right? Those that subscribe. Here's the thing is, you have to control that. You have to challenge that. So for example, let's say you got 10,000 followers on Instagram, right? Are they all buyers? Are they all going to buy your product or services? No. Shouldn't you know what percent of those are actual real potential customers? Shouldn't you do that? We should do that from the very beginning because you set the tone how your business is going to flow. I created my own traffic. That's what I call it. That's my own traffic. I determine who I want following me and who I'm going to follow that I know is going to eventually become a customer. So you got to do that. And also subscribers. So again, more is not always better. There is strategies for having more. But would you rather have more followers or less followers and more business? I don't know about you, but I'd rather have the business. Right? Does that make sense? So what you want to do, and I did a study on actual, followers. What's the percent of followers that are actual potential buyers of whatever you're offering? It's about 20%. You see what I'm saying? So why not just target those 20%? That way that 20% actually is 100%. What do I mean by that? So let's say out of 1,000 people, 20% or 200 are the real potential buyers. Why not just target them and forget about the other ones? Why not just go straight to them? Now you're at 100%. That 20% becomes 100%. So out of the 200 that are real potential buyers, you're going to have a higher contact ratio, presentation ratio, which means a higher conversion ratio. For me, if I get 10 presentations, full presentations, on the first call, I'll do 3 one-call closes out of 10. And then about 60% on the second call. Does that make sense? So you want to control that. So that's one of the ways to challenge the 80-20 rule. I used to train salespeople in Las Vegas, and I would train 5 guys that could outperform 10 guys in volume. 5 guys could outperform in volume 10 other guys. Because you become more effective. You just got to know how to do that. Okay, the second one is search engines like Google, Yahoo, Bing, any of these search engines. The Better Business Bureau. All those search engines, if you target your audience and you know who they are, and you know that they need your services, whether they know it or not, but you know it, then you could target those. So let's say you target 100 pre-qualified business owners. Now you know who they are. You're going to have a higher percent. You're not going to have an 80-20. You're going to have a 50-50 chance. Does that make sense? So you want to be able to do more with less. And even though, 20% of the people generate 80% of the business, I'd rather have all my people generating the same percent or more. So you want to control that. You absolutely want to do that. And then number 3 is you want to use Yelp, Yellow Pages, etc. See, what happens is all of these platforms today, for me, I consider them modern day Yellow Pages. There's so much opportunities out there. The problem I see is that everybody just wants everything quick. They want all these leads. Now they have all these leads and they can't even close them or convert them into sales. Now, I'm not talking about e-commerce, because when people go on e-commerce, they're looking to buy already. That's a different animal. I'm talking about straight up getting leads and then producing those leads into sales. Does that make sense? For me personally, for every dollar I put out there, I'm going to make sure I get back $2 at least. But I control that. Why? Because I'm not at the mercy of leads. I know how to get my leads. I know how to target my audience. So I'm more effective on doing that. So I don't have to worry about the 80-20 rule. I want to make sure that every customer that I present, a high percent of them are actually doing business with me. Does that make sense? So let's just recap. How do you do that? Through your followers, subscribers. You do it through search engines, which is a great tool. You could go through Yelp, Yellow Pages, and some other ones. There's so many sources out there that if you're disciplined and you're willing to work it, you're going to see much better results. And you can use all your platforms. But you got to be willing to do the work. Does that make sense? All right, now that we know how to do that, what are the potential results? Stay tuned. Here's the fun part, guys. When you're willing to do the work like I do, and I don't consider it work, it's just what I do, the results are incredible. Absolutely, because to me, it's all about being consistent, not being sporadic. I've been there once before when I was just learning a new product and, my mindset wasn't right, but I changed it, I challenged myself and I did. But here's the results if you challenge the 80-20 rule, okay? Because one of the things I've learned is you want to dictate your own numbers. You don't want to go with the flow. You want to create your own flow. You see what I'm saying? I don't follow the new fashion. I try to create my own. I follow my own path. Why? Because I like to be unique. I like to be original and authentic. You know what I mean? I don't follow. I just don't do that. And when it comes to sales, I'm responsible for my own check, right? So it's my job to adjust, to always learning and growing and getting the right results. So what are the results? Number 1 is you're going to have a higher conversion ratio. Why? Because when you're in control of how the leads are generated, how you go about calling those leads, having the right sales process, the right strategy, you're going to have a higher conversion ratio. You just are. You're not going to spend time with people that are not even qualified for your product or services. When I talk to someone, I know a lot about them, or as much as I could know. But I know that they need what I'm offering. My job is to persuade them and show them that they need to do it. Because nobody ever wants, to do it. They need to do something. They don't want to do it. It's your job to do that. So you get a higher conversion ratio. Here's the 2 things that are very important to me. Number 1 is by doing it that way, the relationship becomes more solid. But more importantly, number 2 is you start to get testimonies. Real testimonies. That's what you want to do, because 1, the way you went about them or getting that customer, and then they're happy because they didn't even know who you are, but at the end, you really helped them, right? So you get testimonies. And number 3 is referrals. One of the things that I do, and I've done many, many times, is whenever I'm talking with a prospect and I want to work out a deal with them, I do it when I'm closing. I get them to commit to me right away. I always get about 2 to 3 referrals on every customer that I sell or that buys from me. And I do it up front because at the end, when you go back to get referrals, it's almost like trying to sell them again. So I may give them a discount on the price. I said, listen, I'm willing to offer you this, but here's what I want to do. When I show you results and you see this happening, I want 3 referrals. If I give you the discount, you give me 3 referrals. And I usually get that. Within the first week, I get 3 referrals. So that's important because those referrals are real qualified buyers. Because what you went through with this prospect and turn them into a customer, chances are you're going to make sure that they don't bring you someone that can't afford to buy what you're offering, right? Does that make sense? So these are the results. This is what happens when you challenge the 80-20 rule. Does that make sense? So I hope this has been helpful. I want to thank you for being part of the martial arts of selling. If you like this video, smash that like button. Also, if you want to follow me on this channel, just hit the subscription button below. And also share your comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how it went. And till we speak again, I say goodbye for now.